Let's be honest. When it was announced that Hollywood was producing a movie based on a popular toy line, we all got Transformers and G.I. Joe flashbacks. Meaning, no one expected this to be anything but a shallow cash grab. But it turned out to be something completely different.
Whatever one thinks a Barbie movie is going to be, I don't think they imagine that it's going to be this.
Welcome to the Review Desk. I'm Desmond Carrick, and today I'm reviewing Barbie. There's a lot of ground to cover with this movie, so let's jump right in. The good. This movie looks gorgeous. A signature type of pink was selected for consistent use across the many sets, to the point that it caused a global shortage of the color. But it's not all style, there's so much substance. Pink is notoriously difficult to film since any light that reflects off bounces right onto the actors' faces, giving them a pink hue. So the cinematographer had to develop clever ways to work around this while maintaining the quality and sheer beauty of the production, which is in itself a technical achievement. The film is gorgeous, not just in terms of aesthetics, but design as well. Spaces like Gloria's home in the real world are decorated in a simple and seemingly trivial manner to contrast the otherworldly stylization of Barbie Land. The boardroom of Mattel is still lavishly furnished, with a strong opulent tone, to indicate that even in the real world, there's still segregation, not just between men and women, but the powerful and the subordinate as well. Marketing campaign. The movie became massively popular, and it's mostly because of a brilliant marketing campaign which strongly featured the aforementioned signature pink. Even when you did a Google search on the movie's title, the page would turn pink and explode in a cascade of glitter and confetti. We live in the age of the franchise, where studios consider an expanded property a sure hit and are less likely to finance smaller or more original projects. Since Barbie is based on a toy line and was projected to have an impressive box office haul, you'd expect them to use it as the foundation for a long-running series. But they didn't. Barbie, much like the main character, has a story that comes to an end. I love the MCU and the wonderful universe Marvel has built with those films, but it's refreshing to see that a good story is told and done with. This is also a testament to Greta Gerwig's versatility as a director. By not adhering to predictable practices such as building blockbusters into franchises, she won't be put in a box, just like Barbie. And this is something Hollywood likes to do. For instance, Michael Giacchino is the music guy. Then, he made a great Marvel horror special, a special that would have never seen the light of day if he wasn't allowed to spread his wings. And outside of the box is what the film does extremely well. It has its tongue firmly planted in cheek when it comes to the real world and references to being a movie, but it handles it in such a professional manner that is just enough to not feel absurd. Acting. Margot Robbie pours her heart and soul into this role. Amy Schumer was initially attached to the role, but left the project due to creative differences, which probably means the producers wouldn't approve any stolen jokes for the script. Robbie is a much better choice because she's a person who is considered extremely attractive, leading people to judge her at a glance and not look much deeper. Very much like Barbie. I love how Robbie emulates toy Barbie's actions, sipping cups with no fluid in them, turning on the shower in the playhouse even though, of course, there's no water streaming out of it. This brings back memories of how we all used to play pretend with our toys. As Barbie, she's initially indifferent and somewhat vapid. That's to be expected for a character who's always had things go her way all day, every day. Robbie conveys genuine emotion when Barbie discovers deeper feelings, is confronted with situations she's never had to cope with before, which requires her to learn so she can adjust to the new norm. This ties in brilliantly with Gloria's speech about the impossibility of living up to everyone's standards, especially for women. Speaking of Gloria, it's great to see America Ferrera on screen again, especially on the big screen. The woman has talent to burn and was the perfect choice for this character. As for Ryan Gosling, he's just Ken. But being just Ken requires the signature skill of an actor like him, He's convincingly flippant, somewhat obtuse, and even when he conveys emotions associated with deeper issues, such as sadness and questioning his own existence, he walks such a fine line that you know this is something serious, but he still exaggerates just enough to still be Ken. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's tackle what is probably the most discussed aspect of this film. Is it anti-men? There are many articles and videos online claiming it is, and I have this to say. Anyone who thinks this film is anti-men either walked out halfway through or is deliberately being petty against a female-led production. Barbie is so much deeper than some people give it credit for. It revolves around a society that is run by women and seems perfect from their perspective. Barbie comes to the real world run by men, and it's perfect from men's perspective. The Barbies not only admit that their society has been treating the Kens unfairly, they also decide to do something about it. And then there's this line.
Please may the Kens have one Supreme Court justice.
Oh, I can't do that. But maybe a lower circuit court judgeship.
We accept.
Some critics have argued that unless the Barbies immediately give the Kens equal treatment, it's not fair to men. But it's not about that. It's a reflection of the real world. It's 2023, and there are still industries where women earn less than men simply because they're women. Women are still shamed for behavior that isn't considered demure, and the very fact that this movie is being dragged through the mud because it focuses on women is proof that while we've made progress, we're not where we need to be just yet. Unfortunately, progress isn't instant in our real world. That's a fantasy. So Barbie's giving the Kens a small place to start? That's much more realistic. Had they simply established a society where everyone is immediately held to the same standards, it would undo everything the film worked so hard to build. In addressing the negligence that the Kens experienced, the movie also touched upon toxic masculinity, but not the way you think. Ken admits that he acts a certain way because it's expected of him, or because he thinks it's the only way to reach a certain goal. Like when the Kens are convinced serenading the Barbies with a beachside guitar performance will have the women pining for them, marginalizing women to cliches who are all alike instead of the unique individuals each and every one. So of course the serenade fails. I'm also glad that in the end Barbie didn't go in on his advances. This is another happy ending that would have taken away from the story. As men, we need to learn that just because we're not jerks doesn't mean we're entitled to a woman's affections. She doesn't owe us anything. And honestly, sometimes we need to realize that it's okay to be alone. You are enough. The lesson here is, men should be allowed to be themselves, even if they aren't the macho, suave individuals that some cultures consider a real man. And in that respect, the one character who represents this better than Ken is Alan. Alan is neglected, looked down upon, and continually underestimated. And he teaches us to never judge a book by its cover. When it was necessary, he proved capable enough to dispatch multiple of the more muscular Kens. He was also often the voice of reason, and proved to be emotionally more resilient than the seemingly superior Kens. In that, his female counterpart is Gloria. Underestimated, considered physically underwhelming, but in actuality, one of the best around. Alan is still underestimated at the end, and again, this is a sign of steady progress. At first, I didn't like the ending. Why would Barbie choose to become a mortal human whose story is bound to end when she could remain an idea and live forever? But even there, the film makes a point. Why do you want to be an engineer? You're so pretty, you should be a model. Why do you want to be a teacher? There's not much money in that. I think you should be a doctor. You'll attract more potential partners that way. Who are we to decide for people how to live their lives? Sometimes their happiness lies somewhere deeper than we often like to assume. And this goes especially for people like Margot Robbie, who are considered conventionally attractive by social standards. And let's remember, at the core of feminism lies choice. Even though Barbie started out as an eternal idea, she never had a say in that matter. So while her final destination may seem trivial in comparison, Its beauty lies in the fact that it's her choice and that it makes her happy. That is one of the most powerful messages ever. The bad. Some critics felt the movie could have delved deeper into its themes, and that doing so would have made it feel less superficial. I disagree. Much like a person, the best parts of it lie underneath. You just have to pay attention to see them. The movie digs deep enough and so manages to balance the heavy themes with a lighthearted tone. No easy feat. I'm going to award Barbie 5 Thunderbolts, earning it the Review Desk Gold Standard. The movie is a masterpiece, one we'll all be enjoying for years to come. And maybe we'll learn a few lessons along the way.